All right, folks, welcome back. It is time for our next 6.5 Grendel video. The last couple videos we've been screwing around with our new Faxon barrel, but today it's time to get down to it. It's time to test some bullets. And the bullet for today is the 135 grain Berger Classic Hunter. Little bit heavy for the Grendel, right? Kind of on the heavy side. But back during our Faxon barrel test videos, I shot a 5-shot group of these guys with some Vihtavuori N140. And it was the best group we shot. It was a 672 with 4 bullets in one hole and then one just out a little bit. So that really piqued my interest. And I'm looking forward to seeing how these guys shoot with some other powders and what sort of velocity we might be able to expect out of them. So like I said, they are a hunting bullet. But I think these are really, these are intended for the higher velocity cartridges. Like 6.5 Creedmoor, which we shot this bullet in Creedmoor in the last video. So from searching around a little bit, it looks like the Berger bullets like these have a minimum expansion velocity or a minimum effective velocity around 1,800 feet per second. So I think we're going to be lucky to get up around 2,400 with our 18-inch Faxon barrel. So that only gives us 600 feet per second of effective velocity. But that should be good for a couple hundred yards, which is enough for me here, hunting in the woods in Kentucky. You're not going to chuck them out at antelope at 600 yards, but it might be a good short-range hunting option here for the Grendel. I don't know. They are a bit expensive. Cheapest I found them was at Natchez Shooter Supplies at like 42 bucks a box. Up to like Midway had them for 51 bucks a box. So very expensive bullets, but hopefully they'll shoot well. Now I have no load data for these things. None at all. So I'm kind of making it up as I go here. And the powders I want to shoot today, the first is Accurate 2520. Pretty good velocity powder for the Grendel, but we're generally limited by how much we can cram into the cartridge. Now Accurate has got load data for this powder in 6.5 Grendel, but they only go up to 123 grain bullets. So what I did, I can't say it's exactly smart, probably, but I took all of their other load data that they've got for this powder, from 85 grain bullets up to 123 grain bullets. I plotted them on a chart. We loves us some charts around here. And tried to look at where the trend line was going for max charge out at 135 grains. It looks at like right about 28 grains of powder. Now, this might get us in big trouble. Powders certainly don't behave in a linear fashion like this, but it gives us something to start with. So that's what I want to go for a max charge, 28 grains, and we'll just keep an eye on pressure signs as we go. The second powder I want to try is a new powder to me. I just picked it up the other day. It's Alliant Power Pro Varmint. I've never tried this powder ever, but I went ahead and picked up a can because Sierra Bullets just released their 6.5 Grendel load data a couple weeks back. I'll have a link down in the description if you want to go check it out. And this was kind of their high velocity powder that they tested. They tested it in all bullet weights and it was max velocity in all of them. The problem is that these Power Pro, like 2000 MR, Varmint, 300 MP, they're not on any of the burn rate charts. So I'm not even sure where the heck this thing falls. I've heard it's near the old Reloader 12, but I don't know for sure. But we're going to try it today. And you might say that's a little cruel to take Sierra's new data and get a powder recommendation off of their data and then shoot a competitor's bullets. Well, next up is going to be the 130 grain Game King. It's also shown some pretty good accuracy in our initial barrel test, so I'm really looking forward to that guy, and it's coming up next, so I don't feel too bad. But I did the same thing with Sierra's data with Power Pro Varmint. I put it on a chart, and it also landed us right about that 28 grain mark when we look at a trend line going out to 135. So we're going to shoot the exact same max charge with Power Pro Varmint, 28.0 grains. Now, like I mentioned, we shot 5 of these already in this gun, and I've only got 1 box, and I used 50 of them in Creedmoor. I've already used 5 of them here in Grendel, so we've only got 45 of them left. So what I want to do is I want to take 20 shots with Accurate 2520, and we'll shoot 26.5, 27, 27.5, and 28. The half grain increments are a little bit big for what I like to normally do, but when I'm working with no load data, this gives us the opportunity to try and hit a little wider range. So that'll give us 1.5 grains of range, starting at 26.5, going up to 28. With Power Pro Varmint, I want to take 25 shots, and we'll shoot from 26.0 up to 28.0. The brass we're using is Hornady. This is the kind of new batch of brass we've been working from in the last couple videos, and these guys are now once fired. So once fired Hornady brass that I've tumbled and cleaned up, and it's looking all shiny and pretty. For primers, I want to use the CCI 450s. And did I mention overall length? For an overall length, let's just stick with 2.260. So that's the plan for today. So let's get started. Let's get some brass resized. All right, so I'm using my Forster full length sizing die, and here with this chamber, yeah, now that I've got this new Faxon barrel with the tighter chamber, or at least we found out in the last couple videos that the chamber in this gun is much tighter than the Saturn barrels I've been used to. With the Hornady headspace comparator, I'm seeing 1.214, sometimes at 1.215. It's kind of a long 1.214. You see the little extra half a thousandths there. So 1.215 I see a lot, and then 1.2145. Let's try to set up our seating die to bump these guys down to 1.213. That should be enough sizing for good function, I hope. Right now, I've got the die screwed down until it touches the shell holder, and it's pretty tight. Like you might be able to see the turret of the press wiggling a little bit. So it's down, making good contact, but it's not screwed in nearly as far as we can go if we have to. It went a little bit too far, seeing a 1.212 here. Yeah, but you know what? That's just fine. So that's our sizing die setup. That was easy. So let me get these guys run through. Actually, I'll tell you what, let's see how much they're stretching. All right, this guy before sizing is 1.508. And after sizing, 1.512. So stretching 4 thousandths there. Let's check the next one. 1.507 or 1.508. And after is 1.511. So this is still fine. I'll check them all here once we finish sizing, but 1.520 is our maximum overall length, or our maximum brass length. So probably still won't need to trim. All right, so sizing is done. I'm getting the lube wiped off of these guys. And the next step is going to be to deburr and chamfer the case mouth. And then after that, we'll be ready for some primers. All right, now I'm just getting these guys primed here with this Frankfurt Arsenal hand priming tool that I'm still trying to get used to. I'll tell you what, after years of using RCBS hand priming tools, the different ergonomics here, man, are really screwing with me. But I've been trying to stick with it and get used to it. It does seem to be a nice tool, but it's just different. Sometimes it's hard to get used to different. But yeah, kind of feels like cutting with the left-handed scissors, you know? So I was afraid this 28 grain charge of 2520 would just have ridiculous case fill and it would be way over compressed, like, you know, super compressed. But it's not. The powder level is just, you know, a little bit down below the shoulder. I probably won't be able to show it to you because it's so far down in there, but I think we're going to have enough room to get a bullet in there without getting absurd with the compression. Tell you what, I'm gonna have to get some more accurate 2520. I've still got enough left for this video and a little bit more work in 223, but I'm gonna need another can sooner than later. And it sucks, my local shops don't really carry many accurate powders to begin with, and I've never seen them have 2520. This can actually I had ordered and paid the hazmat fee. So I either need to do that again or I need to make a trip to the big city and hope I can find some in stock. All right, so that's it here. I've got my 20 rounds of accurate 2520 weighed out, so let's start seating some bullets. Okay, out with the sizing die, in with the seating die. I am using my Forster Ultra Micrometer seating die. And what was our overall length? 2.260. Now, during yesterday's 6.5 Creedmoor video with this bullet, I did find quite a bit of variation in overall length due to me-plat irregularities with this bullet. But I found excellent consistency when we measured overall length to the ogive. So that's what we'll do here. I'll get it basically set at 2.260 to the tip, and then we'll see what sort of consistency we're seeing at the ogive. Yeah, to the tip we're seeing, like, here's our max length, 2.266, which should still fit okay in the magazine, and the shortest of 2.259. So 7 thousandths of variation to the tip. So let's measure to the ogive. 1.654, 1.655 or 56, 655, 655, and 655. So once again, see quite a bit of variation to the tip, but down at the ogive where it matters, they're right on the money. All right, so with our heaviest charge here, let's measure and see if our overall length grew any. 1.655 and 1.656 are the exact same numbers we saw in that first group, isn't it? 1.655. So good. I don't feel any powder moving around. Yeah, 1.656. So I don't feel any powder moving around. So I'm pretty sure this is a completely full case, but it's pretty lightly compressed. We didn't, like, the seating stem and our bullet seating die didn't leave any major marks on the bullets or anything goofy like that. And our overall length didn't even grow. So yeah, good to go. So I think that's pretty much it. I'm going to weigh out the Power Pro Varmint charges and get those bullets seated. If anything exciting comes up, I'll let you know. But otherwise, I'll just see you on the range. All right, folks, it is camouflage coveralls weather out here. But that's not going to keep us off the range. Today, we've got a target at 100 yards, and we're going to shoot our 135 Berger Classic Hunters. I just got done shooting this same bullet in yesterday's video, which was a 6.5 Creedmoor video. The bullet shot awesome, so I'm really hoping it's going to do the same here in the Grendel. So my gun does have the 18-inch Faxon Match Series heavy fluted barrel. Yesterday's video, I was shooting a 12 power scope. Today, this is a 24 power Vortex Viper PST, so I'm gonna feel like I've got supervision today. So let's get started. I'll be shooting with the suppressor and with the magneto speed chronograph the entire time. I better clean the snow off the magneto speed. So let's get started. Now, I'm really hoping that the snow doesn't accumulate in the lens on my target camera. So if the targets are looking fuzzy, that's what happened. But here we go. 26.5 grains of accurate 25/20 is first. I'm thinking we shouldn't have any problems with barrel heat or suppressor heat. All right, I like that start. All right, no pressure signs on the brass, but at 2,087 feet per second, we shouldn't expect any. So we're moving on, 27.0 grains of 25/20. And now the sun's coming out. Okay, brass is still looking great. Velocity is still nice and low. You know, that's what you like to see when you're making up your own load data. So moving on, 27.5 grains. Okay, last up with Accurate 2520 is 28.0 grains. It doesn't look like we're going to get there as far as velocity. Like, these velocities are pretty low. But, like I think I mentioned at the bench, so far the brass looks perfect. So we've still got some case capacity left to move up if we want to. My camera's gotten too dark, hadn't it? There we go, let's try that. So last up, 28.0 grains. All right, outstanding group. 2236 feet per second with a 3.7 feet per second standard deviation. So as we reach that full case, as standard deviation's tightening up, oh yeah, definitely want to try and push this guy a little bit farther with 2520, no doubt about it. We'll have a little closer look once we get back to the bench, but at least out here with the muddy and snow covered cases, I'm not seeing the least bit of any pressure sign. So that's a good thing. All right, time to move on to Power Pro Varmint. All right, I tell you what, let's do a little scope adjustment here. These are 3/4 inch dots we're shooting at today, just for your information. So let's go right 3/4 of a minute. Yeah, and let's go up 1.5 minutes. That should put us right on top of the dot, I think. So moving on to Power Pro Varmint, 26.0 grains is first. Hopefully we don't blow our face off. Let's find out. Let's chase down that first piece of brass. Velocity nice and low, 2,066 feet per second. No pressure signs to speak of on the brass, so looking good. That's very similar velocity to what we saw with Accurate 2520. See if it'll group. All right, so it looks like it is going to group. 2,072 feet per second with an 11.1 feet per second standard deviation. That is extremely close. That's about 15 feet per second slower than Accurate 2520. Very similar standard deviation number. So next up, 26.5 grains. All right. Nice group. 2114 feet per second, 6.6 feet per second standard deviation. It's all good, brother. All right, still no pressure signs to speak of. So we're moving on. 27.0 grains is next. So I just realized that I'm a big fat idiot. I forgot that we only shot 4 groups with Accurate 2520. So in reality, Power Pro Varmint is giving us more velocity per grain than Accurate 2520. So like 27 grains, which was our last group, we got 2164 with Power Pro Varmint, and we got 2137 with Accurate 2520 at the same charge weight. So about 25 feet per second slower with Accurate 25-20. Interesting. So no pressure signs at all on the brass. So we're moving right along. Next up, 27.5 grains. All right, so we've got not so much as a hint of a pressure sign on the brass. It looks perfect. So moving right along, last up, 28.0 grains of Power Pro Varmint. This powder is making an excellent first impression. All right, last velocity, 2261 with a 10.1 feet per second standard deviation. We didn't set the world on fire with velocity, but that's completely okay. Let me double check the pressure signs here on this last load. I'm not seeing a darn thing on this brass. It looks outstanding. So I tell you what, my freaking fingers are just about frozen. They're covered in crap from picking up brass and wiping fouling off of brass. So let's get inside, let's warm up, let's regain feeling, and let's talk all this crap out. Because I think we've got a truly exceptional bullet on our hands. All right, first things first, let's have a look at the brass, which is going to be a quick look because there's not a whole lot to show you here. Let's look at the maximum charge of Accurate 25-20, if I can get one out of there, or a couple of them out of there. Still a little bit dirty, but case heads look outstanding. Nice rounded primers. Not even an ejector mark to be seen. So doesn't seem to be any sort of pressure problems whatsoever. Okay, here's our max charge, our 28 grain charge of Power Pro Varmint. Same sort of deal. Nice round primers. No ejector marks. No rims getting chewed up. Just everything looking absolutely perfect here so far with these two powders. Actually, now that I look closer, that right-hand piece does have a little circular mark on it, but I'm pretty sure it's from the previous firing. None of it's shiny at all, so I think it's from the previous firing. So, looking good. All right, folks, I'm pretty excited about this accuracy. For one thing, our new barrel, our new Faxon barrel, got the job done, right? I don't care how good the bullet is. If the barrel is complete garbage, then it's not going to shoot. So this builds my confidence in our Faxon barrel. But man, this is a good bullet. This is a really good shooting bullet. You know, our worst group here, so let's start with Accurate 25-20. Our worst group here, a .782, which we seem to have caught a bit of a transition here, right? We were kind of low, and then the group after was a little bit higher. So I think that group was just kind of caught in between in a transitional phase. And I mean, honestly, after the last video where we talked about the barrel whip of the Faxon barrel, I thought we might see a whole lot more of that, but you know, we really didn't. Like, you know, there was a pretty minor shift. And then down here with Power Pro Varmint, you know, from lowest charge to highest, there was a general upward trend in impact, but nothing crazy, like nothing drastic. So I was afraid the barrel was just going to be, you know, whipping groups all over the place, and at least with this bullet, didn't seem to be the case. So both bullets were good as far as accuracy went, but I think we'd have to say that Power Pro Varmint was definitely the better shooter in general here. Like the last group opened up to a 723, but a lot of these other groups are really excellent. Our best group of the day at a 451. We had a 573, a 607 and a 670. That's just good shooting. I'm pretty excited to try more things with this Power Pro Varmint. Looking at our brass, I mean, I think we can push it farther, and I want to find out just how far we can push it. We were at 2261 was our highest velocity. So I'm going to be ordering more of these bullets, and I mean, honestly, these same two powders will probably get tested again. You know, let's push them farther. Let's see how much accurate, or how much velocity we can get out of this 18-inch barrel. We might pull out some of the big velocity powders for Grendel. CFE 223, Lever Evolution maybe. But at this point, neither one of these powders has given us a reason to abandon it, right? They're both shooting pretty darn accurate. Velocities are starting to get interesting, and we haven't seen any pressure signs. So let's keep on trucking. So I was also pleased in general with the standard deviation numbers. We had a couple crappy ones, like there was a 19.8 was our worst by far. And then we had a 12 and a couple around the 10 mark. But still, for ball powders, doesn't seem bad. Doesn't seem bad at all. So it's just all good, man. It is absolutely all good. We found an awesome bullet. We tried out a pretty new and so far awesome looking powder. We didn't blow our face off, even though we made up the load data out of thin air. So very successful little video here. I haven't really put a game plan together here for Grendel from this point forward. I mean, I know I want to keep continue testing with the 135 Berger, but I've got several other interesting bullets on hand that I want to get to, and I'm not sure which one's going to be next. But now that we've got the barrel figured out, and we're kind of, we've successfully made it through our first little bullet test, I want to keep them rolling. I want to keep testing stuff. I want to track down some good stuff for this gun and keep the Grendel videos rolling. So I think that's where we'll leave it. If you'd like to help support my channel, you can come to patreon.com/reloading. I really appreciate all of you guys who support me over there. It means a ton. You can also check out my affiliate links down in the description. And yeah, thanks for all the support. I'll see you guys next time.